Hey, yo, what it is and what's good, y'all? Welcome back to 280 Plus, the social media podcast where I take the conversations off the timeline and go beyond the tweets. I'm your host, Los Def, and I'm back here for episode 201. Wow, now we saying we putting two in front and we just racking them up, right? So 201. If you're new to the channel, I'd like you to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Make sure you hit that bell for notifications. If you want to join the conversation, leave a comment below. If you know anybody that's interested in the content, I mean, hit that share button and reach out to somebody. So, all right, we back for 201. And last week for episode 200, man, another shout out to my boy Levi for just kind of holding it down, man. Like, he's been, pivotal in just helping me, bring this podcast to life and bring it to fruition. And, we're going to keep rocking. We talked about it last week, how, all right, 200 and, it's been a couple years, but we still love it and we're going to keep grinding with it. And, it's you just never know. You never know what's going to happen. And like I said, we trying to do different things. We're trying to improve the platforms any way that we can, all right, as we're going through this. So how y'all doing, though, man? How y'all doing? So is it just me, or did I blink and like the summer is about to be over pretty soon, right? So my summer has been kind of built around going on these two trips for these weddings, and they're here. So I might not have an episode next week, or I might not have an episode because I won't have that much time from when I'm back in town. I do have the ability to record, but I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to put it out. So, yeah, I think we're gonna miss a week due to vacation, and it's all good though. And then after that, we get into August, and then once August rolls around, people, school year's about to start back up, and people got to go back to school. You know what I mean? So, my son, man, he had a great summer. His swim season just wrapped up. He got a trip that he's gonna be taking with his grandma pretty soon. But anyway, yeah, man. So I'm proud of him though, man, because this summer he's been swimming, and this is his third year, but this is the first year that he has to swim 50 meters. So like most of these lap pools are 25 meters going one way, right? Now, Olympic size is a lot bigger than that. I think Olympic size is like 50 or 100 meters down. But anyway, I think it's 50 meters down because I think the fastest race is just like down and back. But anyway, most of these like, youth size pool, high school pools, they're 25 meters. So now that he's 11, he has to swim 50 meters. So he has to go down and back. And that's a big adjustment, man. So basically he's from what he's been used to the last 2 years, he's basically swimming two races at once. And he was nervous about it. And, he's not a winter swimmer. My boy plays basketball. We just kind of do swim to keep him in shape and keep him active and keep him doing something. And, he get to touch that water every day. You know what I mean? But this year he's been pretty successful, man, despite the challenges and despite everything, and and the changes, for him, and him being he's a shorter guy. I noticed that some of these kids that are 11 and 12, they're like tall, like these swimmers, they're really tall, so they have a little bit of an advantage. But like he looks good in the water. And he's won quite a few ribbons this season, man. So I was just gonna flex these a little bit. So my man got a first place ribbon for he was a part of a relay team. He got a first place ribbon. I got one of those. My man got a second place ribbon for butterfly, 50-meter butterfly. So cooking, and if y'all know how to swim butterfly, that's like the hardest. That's the hardest stroke to master and to be fast in. Another second place trophy for butterfly. You know what I mean? So first and 2 seconds, and then he got a couple thirds right here. So he got a third place backstroke. I think he's a better backstroker than they kind of give him credit for. I think they should put him in the backstroke more often. Let's see. Third place for Butterfly. All right, third place for Butterfly. And then my man got a third place in for freestyle. Freestyle, 50-meter freestyle. Right. Oh, that was a pretty good time for him, right? So yeah, man, just out of nowhere, man, this summer is about to be over. Like I said, I'm gonna be going to Mexico and then I'll be in Miami the following week. So we might miss a week here or there. But it's all good. I still got to plan something like plan to take my son to the beach at some point in time. We've been to Hershey Park quite a few times. Shout out to my mom, man. My mom just retired. You know what I mean, worked for the state for a long time, and yeah, so she's about to be living her best grandma life. Other than that, man, like I said, man, we grinding, we rolling this week. We're gonna give you some reactions and reviews to different things in music, to TV shows, and what else we got? Oh, we're gonna talk a little bit about just some things that's happening on our social media that got everybody talking. One is this possible rumor that Uno is being added to casinos as a table game. So we're gonna kind of debunk that. And then what else we got? What else we got? We got that, and I guess we don't want to get into the Shannon Sharpe stuff because we don't have like full knowledge of everything. But one of the things with Shannon Sharpe was that because the girl filed a civil lawsuit against him for $50 million back in April, and then now they're starting to deal with it. And apparently, her lawyer didn't show up to court. I seen a couple different people react to this. One of them is being like the lead attorney, and if you ever watch YouTube and like look up lead attorney, man, he's hot on YouTube, man. Like, and a lot of people respect him, in the especially in black YouTube, atmosphere or uh, what do we call that realm? You know what I mean, in the black YouTube realm, he's really big and really popular. But he was MTR was doing a review and kind of talking about some of the things that he was discussing with the case, and he was saying he thinks that they really are probably like aggressively trying to settle this out of court. And people, so one thing that he talked about, and we'll get into this a little bit. So one thing that he talked about is that because a lot of times for the regular person, we have our own ideas of what things mean, even though we don't necessarily have access to the things that are happening. We assume certain things based on just prior knowledge. So like civil lawsuits, right? So a lot of times people feel that like if somebody is settling in a civil lawsuit, like the plaintiff or the defendant is settling and then he decides to pay them out, that's an admission of guilt. And kind of hearing the lead attorney's perspective on it, he kind of he's kind of telling us like no, it's not like that. And that's the thing with law, even though like the laws are clear and that's like it's kind of black and white, there's a lot of gray area and a lot of wiggle room. So one thing that he was saying was that how with a civil suit like this, people get people to sign NDAs and things like that. And Shannon Sharpe had that kind of in place, like NDAs, and some people making that like into something, and they're trying to settle out of court. But like the reason why he was trying to settle is because he didn't want, it's not necessarily a admission of guilt, but what they're saying is that like he didn't want certain details to be put public, because that's the thing, that stuff becomes public record. No matter if the stuff that they're saying is true, it's those claims that get out there, and sometimes putting the dirt out there is enough to kind of bury somebody. And we know Shannon Sharpe, he's working for ESPN, but he has not. He's kind of been on the sidelines for a little bit, and so this lawsuit is coming out, and we're starting to hear the details, and like some of the details are wild, man. They saying stuff about like they're getting into the stuff that like Shannon Sharpe likes to do behind the bedroom, and so it kind of reminds you a little bit of like what happened in the Diddy case, where you got all this stuff that's just coming out that really has nothing to do with anything. But the reason why Shannon Sharpe probably wanted to settle not with it was not because like he's admitting that he did something non-consensual with this woman. It's the fact that some of his business is about to be put out there that he don't want everybody to know. And I'll just say this, some of that stuff includes um Shannon Sharpe being in a compromising position and the woman basically doing things to him that men would normally do to women, right? So again, you can kind of fill in the boxes. Like you said, like, yeah, he used to slide down to the end, or she would be standing at the end of the bed, and then you know what I mean, he get ready to receive, and then my man would have his legs in the air. That's what they saying. That's what they saying. So that's not on me. That's what they saying, and it makes you look a little bit away. But again, Shannon Sharp don't want people to know that, but we do know it because they couldn't settle out of court. So like we still get to see what the complaint is. You know what I mean, and all the details in that, and you guys can kind of look that stuff. You can look that stuff up too. Um, so yeah, so that's that with that. So yeah, that's the only update in terms of other things. Oh, let's get into this. So have y'all seen that there was a report last week or sometime, and it's been kind of going viral on social media, and they talking about how Uno is about to be introduced as a table game, right? So then everybody started thinking like, oh man, like this, like the biggest thing with Uno. So we'll talk about Uno. The biggest thing with Uno is the fact that like hardly anyone plays by the rules that are inside the book, right? Like, and so like if this was gonna turn into a Vegas table game, like people would have, even though you might be hyped and be like, oh yeah, I'm about to kill, I'm about to do this, you would have to abide by the rules that's in the book, or the rules that the casino establishes. But the thing is, nobody plays by the rules in the book, or most people don't. And then there's other ways that people play in which makes it like kind of wild and maybe not as enjoyable for everybody to play. So like people say stacking. Like so stacking is like there's two different ways. So now I'm learning too because I ended up kind of getting to a comment section because I reacted to how somebody was playing Uno this one way and they was like, "Oh yeah, they do that down south." So, but stacking would be there's two different ways you could look at stacking. So stacking could be basically like, all right, I put down a draw four. So my opponent's supposed to the person to the right of me is supposed to draw four, but then they put a draw four. So then the next person is a draw eight, and then they put down another four, and then it's a draw 12, and so on and so forth. Like that's one version of what people call stacking, right? And then sometimes people will say, all right, well, yeah, you can do that with draw twos as well, which that's kind of crazy, right? So that's one form of stacking. And that's pretty common though. People that's how people play. Like a lot of people kind of play like that, which is kind of crazy. It's kind of ridiculous. But it is what it is, right? The other version of stacking would be, right? So let's say the card that's being played is a blue two, right? So I'm looking at my hand and I got a yellow two, a red two, and a green two, right? So stacking would be, and this is how sometimes I play like this, but stacking would be like because I have a two, right? I can have different colors because you can go color or number on Uno, but like since I got two of all those different colors, I could lay all three of them cards down at once. You know what I'm saying? That would be like stacking. I mean, because it helps you get cards out of your hand quicker. It kind of makes sense a little bit. And so that's what that would be. But some people don't play like that either. And that's not even how you supposed to play either. Like that's not official rules, whatever. But like that's what stacking is. But then I was watching and I was reacting to something because somebody was like, "Yo, they just start putting mad cards down. They start putting mad cards down." Yeah, man, this lady, just say like the card was like a seven, right? She put down like a blue seven, then she would put down like a blue 8 and then a red 8 and then a yellow 8 and then a 9 and then another 8, go like she was going up and down. And then people said in the comment section of this post, people was like, oh yeah, in the South that's called stacking, or that's called train. They was playing train, whatever. And I was like, I ain't never heard of that, whatever. So I was like, yeah, that's not it. Like I'm not playing that. I'm not playing some game where you can go up and you can go down and you can play colors and letters, whatever. So that just sounds like a mess. So and the thing is though with Uno, this is why people fight about Uno. It's not even the fact that people play by different rules. It's the fact that people don't discuss all the rules before they play. People just assume. So my thing is, I will play. I'll Because we're not playing for money. I will play any style of Uno that you want to play. However, don't when I do something or whatever, or you need to tell me what we're not allowed to do, because the rules just need to be on the forefront, right? Like front and center, and it needs to be laid out that are we're doing this, we're doing that. But like when we're switching it up, that's when it gets messy and that's when people argue. So this whole thing about it turned into a table game, everybody was talking about it. And then it comes to find out is like that's not even actually true. So like no, it is not turning into a table game in Vegas. However, the Palms Casino has decided to open a Uno social club. And so it's gonna be a place where people can have like private events. They'll have like a private dealer, so to speak, but they're not playing for money. It's not a traditional table game. So like all that talk about Uno, um, and everybody gassing it up it was all for nothing because it wasn't actually true. So they are not. I repeat, they are not making Uno a table game in Vegas for you to win or lose money on. All right. Other than that, I actually do have a couple other little headlines because actually when I looked at my account here, it made me think of a couple other topics. Oh, so y'all heard about Teddy Bridgewater? Teddy Bridgewater. So apparently he got suspended. So if you know Teddy Bridgewater, the quarterback, uh, he played for the Vikings for a long time. His last stint was actually last year in the playoffs. He was a backup in Detroit. And so prior to that, last football season, he was the head coach of Miami Northwestern, and that's apparently where he used to go to high school. And so they won a state title, and they getting ready to run it back and whatever. So then he got hit with a suspension, and they're saying that the report, it was kind of vague, but then you had to kind of dig into it. But then I still have some questions about kind of what's happening with this whole thing. But with Teddy Bridgewater, they're saying that basically spending like impermissible funds. All right, so he got suspended, or he self-reported his violations, and he talked about how much money that he was spending on the program. One for Uber rides, and then like for catered food, and then they would get someone to come there at like a recovery center or recovery specialist, whatever. I guess like to help them after games to get right. Now, on one hand, right, on the outside looking in, it's definitely like, damn, that's dope, man. Like, yo, this dude, he's spending his own money to help build this football program. The problem is though, if this is a public school, is that like, yes, you can kind of, coaches all the time probably they spend out of their own pocket, whatever. But like when you reach certain levels of expenditures, it becomes a thing where, and this is what they're citing. They're saying that this could be deemed as enticing recruitment. So basically, you're paying because yeah, they say he was like paying $700. He was spending out of his pocket. Now, this is not an expense I think that probably people need necessarily, but he was spending $700 a week for kids to get Uber rides. Like, I feel like that's a created a bigger issue. Like, no, maybe we need a activity bus or something like that to where we need to get these kids home, or like the parents need to be coming to pick up the kids, their high school students from practice. Like they shouldn't be, if it's a safety issue, $700 is a week is a lot. And then like catering, 3 course meals, and it's costing like $400, $1,400 to do that. This recovery stuff costing thousands and thousands of dollars. Like he put up a good chunk of money like over the course of the season. And apparently, like I guess he was like asking for some donations. I don't know if it's for him to get the money back or for just to kind of, you know, help just generate more funds. But the thing is, what they're citing this is impermissible and it could be inciting recruitment is because, yes, I go to the school that's the neighboring high school and I see that Teddy Bridgewater is their coach. And then I see that they got this, they got that, they got all this new equipment, and then it's gonna make me want to go to that school, and then like maybe I'm using a fake address, and then now I'm a student at this school trying to transfer, and it looks like it's recruiting. Now recruiting is okay in private schools, but this is a public school, and it has to be somewhat fair, level playing ground. Now you have all teams have booster clubs, which is basically like parents and alumni, and and like they back the program, and like they're the ones that provide like meals for the team, and they don't really provide transportation. That should be something that's part of the budget. The booster club might pay the booster club probably pays the assistant coaches that aren't on salary, like they give them a stipend. The booster club is the ones that they're in charge of concessions and buying all that type of stuff. So a lot of times there's a system in place. Now some people are feeling like, oh, he a black man and he bucking the system, so they feel some type of way. But I could kind of see it both ways. It's one thing if you are like if the program was severely underfunded and like you were paying for essentials, like maybe the team bus, like you bought the team bus, you bought your team new uniforms and stuff like that. I don't think anybody's making a big deal about that. But like when yeah, like I said, these players are getting a level of treatment that might seem a little bit like kind of out of the ordinary. I can see how it looks a type of way. Now, Teddy Bridgewater said something interesting because he said I'm not suspended. He said I would have to be an employee to suspend me, and you can't suspend somebody that's not an employee. So that made me think like, is he not the head coach of Miami Northwestern? Is he just like a coach on the staff? Because then that's different. And he says, yeah, no, I'm not going nowhere. He's like, because I'll go back to coaching from the sidelines like I was for years in the bleachers. And then I was like, yeah, he said from the bleachers. And so I'm thinking like, do he got a kid that goes to this school? Do he just love his alma mater? Is he actually the head coach? Because that's like when I look it up, there's nothing that says that he's not the head coach, but like it was his statement where he said you would have to be an employee to get a suspension. He was like, I'm not suspended. He was like, I reported these violations or whatever. I self-reported. And so like, I don't know, that I think we'll get to the bottom of it pretty soon and keep y'all updated. But like, what do you think? Do you think that Teddy Bridgewater was just doing what he had to do for his team and it's all love? Or do you think that this does kind of create like a little bit of an unlevel playing field a little bit? I don't know. Leave a comment below. Leave a comment below. All right, let's react to some stuff, man, because yeah, let's get into some reactions, man. So let me pull up my notes here on what we got. And I'm kind of going off the cuff for real with some of this stuff. All right, so music, 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 music. All right, so now I'm wondering, man. I'm a little bit suspicious of how certain things went down. But obviously, everybody was anticipating the new Clipse album, right? The Clipse album came out July 11th, Friday, July 11th, and I was anticipating it. All right, even though Pusha T, he had some choice words, and for my boy Travis Scott, I'm a big Travis Scott fan. That alone doesn't make me not want to listen to something. And I do like Pusha T. Like I do like his music. He's probably not as good as like Eric, like certain people might make him to be, but like, nah, he's good, man. He's really good. Like he beat Drake. I mean, maybe he don't really get no credit for that. I think no, he does get the credit for that. I just don't think it didn't phase Drake the way people thought it would. Anyway. So I do like Pusha T. I was excited about this album. The songs that they dropped, it was like, damn, these dudes is rapping. And so, the album comes out. And thoroughly enjoyable album. The album is, let's see, how long is this album? The album is 13 songs, 40 minutes. So it's a pretty short album. Like everybody nowadays is putting out like, and the thing, you couldn't do this when they were disc, but like people are putting out hour and a half, like 90-minute albums and stuff like that. Some people. And like, yeah, back in the day, if you burn CDs or if you download stuff, you knew that your CDs could only go to 80 minutes. And really that's like 78 minutes for because you know how that type of stuff is, like certain space you can't actually use on it. But anyway, um so 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 yeah, 13 songs for 40 minutes, and I thought it was really enjoyable. There's a lot of songs that I liked off of it. I'm gonna go through the tracks that I liked. The Birds Don't Sing. I love John Legend singing on a rap song. Like that always that kind of like is a cheat code a little bit for me. Like most of the rap songs that he's on is a hit. Chains and Whips. Bro, Chains and Whips is crazy. And that beat is like that beat because Pharrell executive produced this joint. But that beat sound like that's like a Jay-Z beat, like for real. Like that joint was crazy. Kendrick killed it for real. Changing Whips is hard. POV was good. Tyler Creator, man, he is, I know he's won Grammys and he's celebrated and decorated, but like nah, like over the last several years, when he did that one album with DJ Drama, that's when I kind of like, I gained a respect for Tyler the Creator, and no, that's a really good song. I mean, So Be It is still probably the crown track on this for me. But being able to hear it without just playing a video of it, that was amazing. Ace Trumpets is good. All things considered, I ain't gonna lie, that's a skip. That's a skip for me. Then they got a lot of songs where it's like abbreviations or initials or acronyms. MTBTTF. I'm gonna just play this for a second real quick. Hold on. Let me just, cause I don't want to play it on here because then get in trouble. But hold on. All right, so this song MTBTTF, that one has that felt like an old Jay Z. Like I think there's a Jay Z sample in there, man. Or you know what? No, that's probably like you know what? That sound like a little bit of like a Gangstar sample or something like that. But I don't know what it stands for, but that's hard. It has like it's like the beat kind of does sound like I said, Gangstar sample. Spitting though, just spitting. Killed that. That's a good song. The ETB, that's a skip. I skipped that. FICO is crazy. FICO with Stove God Cooks, crazy. That's a crazy song. So Far Ahead, that's a good one. Inglorious Bastards is okay. Now that's good. Let God Sort Them Out is good with Nas. That one's good too. That one's good too. So I would say out of the 13 songs, I think like eight are solid. I think eight are really good or solid. I think that's a good album. I mean, what I'm finding though is interesting is that like more than ever, like just you're allowed to give your opinion because like maybe you are just a music junkie and you like to talk and you just like to listen and consume music, but like a lot of times though, you know how it is, if something is not typically your cup of tea, most times people you don't really say much about it. Like you don't even give it your time. Like for example, Playboy Cardi is not my cup of tea. And online, even on this platform, I'm not about to come at Playboy Cardi and talk about how weak the album is because I'm not a Playboy Cardi fan. If I say anything album is weak, it's because I wanted to listen to it and was disappointed. Um, that's it. That's really the only reason. Like I wanted to listen to it and I was disappointed because of my expectations. I don't really listen to stuff that I think I might not like. You know what I'm saying? Like, or things that I know that I'm not gonna like. I don't go out my way to try to listen to it. Now, I will listen to it, and you know what? I will listen to things, but like I don't necessarily have to publicly critique things. So like one thing I noticed was that with this Clipse album dropping was how so many people kind of came out the woodwork and was just like, yeah, nah, this Clips album, nah, that shit's trash. Like, nah, who wants to listen to this type of music, whatever. And then I'm thinking like a lot of people. So like one thing I'll say about this Clips album is the fact that this is what we view as hip hop. Like this is what we view as rap music. Like if you've been listening to rap for a long time, like this is a rap album. This is a hip hop album. This is not like an album where like you have to like, oh no, this is melodic rap, or oh no, this is drill, or this is like trap music. Like this was no kind of like outside of the content. This is just what we call, this is just a rap album. Like, but we're not this is not an album where we have to put like a subgenre and include it and give it a caveat of like, oh, it's this kind of music, this kind of music. Now, the content itself, people, might take issue with some of the content that the Clips was rapping about, or that they typically rap about. You might have an issue with that. However, when we think about like what's out there right now, right? Like a lot of the music that we listen to, like even the music that we enjoy, what is that music even really about? Like what like think about all the popular rappers of today. And I'm not talking about veterans. I'm not talking about like guys like Kendrick Lamar and Drake. I'm talking about like just the people that are being pushed, the young people that are putting out music on a regular. What the hell are they even rapping about? You know what I mean? So like, so if we being content police, okay, then it's just not for you. But like again, if it's not for you, then just don't listen to it, whatever. But I'm just saying like this was like rapping. Like these dudes was rapping on here. The bars felt fresh. The beats were good. There was a little bit nostalgia kind of woven into these beats, whatever. But like this album felt modern, and it felt like a big rapper drop. Like I said, this felt like a Jay-Z album. This felt like, for lack of a better, you know what I mean? This felt like good music Kanye West, you know what I'm saying? Like when the group was together. Like this felt like, yeah, like when Meek was dropping a couple years ago, like a rap album that you kind of clinging to and that you want to listen to over and over. That's the one thing about this album. A lot of replay value. So much replay value on this album. So like yeah, I mean, if I had to rate this album out of 10, I'm gonna give it an 8. Like just for as many songs as I liked on this joint, yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8 because I think I think the rollout, although there were some corny moments in the rollout, I appreciated the rollout because everybody wants to do surprise album drops, and that's corny. Like that's cornier than I'd rather see you try to get me to try to sell your album before it comes out, instead of like you just putting it out and just saying like, here, yo, like, yo, do your thing, fans. No, like, what are you doing, bro? Like, yeah, I mean, you gotta still sell. You still gotta be a salesman a little bit in this. Um, I'm not mad at the content. The one thing I say, the only critique I say about this album is that, like, yes, this album is not for everybody. This album is not for every setting. This album is not something that you can kind of play in the car with everybody in the car. Like, so if you got young kids, you might listen to a little bit of it because you want your son to know what good music sound like good rapping sound like. But like if you with your lady, she probably not going to listen to half of this stuff. Like more than half of this stuff. There might be like two songs that she might enjoy, but like, and that's what I learned is that yes, I am more into R&B. I'm into playing music that is enjoyable for you know women to enjoy. Like, I mean, if there's the woman in my life, I want her to enjoy what I'm listening to as well. So that's where I see a lot of people are at. But like it be the rappers that rap also that talk about crazy stuff, that saying this is not that good. It's like it don't even make sense to me. So but like no. Clips album, go listen to that if you haven't. if you haven't heard it yet. Malice probably is it shines on that. I mean, he kind of outshines his brother, and almost everybody's saying it too. So like, we do live in a we live in a microwave society though. So like, it's gonna be. I feel like people are gonna be clamoring for the next one, and like I'm thinking like I don't know if they're gonna like this might have been just a one off. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're gonna keep making music, but Malice is nicer than Pusha. You know what I'm saying? And it would be cool. It would be cool to see if they stick it out. In terms of rap duos though, too, man, I don't think people give Clips enough credit for like how nice they are. They rank up there, man, when it comes to like rap duos. But yeah, I thought it was a solid album. Eight. I mean, 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. You know what I mean? Because like you can't play it in every setting. Um, and yes, the content is probably like it's pretty niche. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I'll give it an eight. And then but the reason why I'm suspicious is because all right, so that dropped on the 11th, and then on the 13th, Travis Scott. Yeah, Jackboys 2 comes out. Travis Scott drops Jackboys 2. And I don't now here's the thing. I'm a Travis Scott fan. I didn't hear about a Jackboys album being dropped. So if you don't know, Jackboys is that's like his that's the collective. So like his label is called Cactus Jack. Um yeah, it's Cactus Jack, and like he has a couple artists on this. And so back in like 2018, I believe it was. It was sometime like that. It might be a little bit later than that, but like he dropped a Jack Boys album. It was a compilation. It was so all the people that's like on his label plus him and like maybe a feature or two. Um and it was solid. It was good, but it was only like 7 tracks. Well, yo, they dropped a full Jack Boys album on the 13th. So on a Sunday, that's the wildest day to drop an album, right? So let's see, Jack Boys 2. I'm just gonna click on this. Because first it wasn't even an album, it was like a playlist, so to speak. Yeah, now it's an album. Jack Boys though, so this is a different type of album though, completely. Yeah, 20 songs. Hour 3 minutes, right? Hour 3 minutes. Now, I didn't listen to this whole thing, but like, I ain't gonna lie, man. There's a lot of good stuff on here. There's a lot of good stuff on here, and so I gotta dig into this a little bit. But like, if you know, artists that are on Cactus Jack or on Travis Scott's label would be Don Toliver, Sheck West. I think Sofago is on here, and that's pretty much who they got, whatever. But there's a lot of features on here too, man. They got Future featured on here. Kodak Black got a song featured on here. Um, Playboy Cardi features on here. Who else? I saw Tyler and Vibes Cartel. I gotta check that out. That song out. PBT. Glorilla's on here. Young Boy's on here. So yeah, like Travis was not playing. Now, the reason I'm suspicious is because like that whole rollout, was that like a WWE promo? Was that a WWE promo, or did like Travis decide to scramble and put this together to kind of compete with the drop? Um, I'm wondering because like what Pusha said about Travis wasn't the craziest thing. I think he said more in the interviews than he did in the bars, right? You know what I'm saying? And then yeah, on one of the tracks, Travis is like he says something about he's pushing tees, like pushing t-shirts, like he made 100 off of pushing tees. And then he said something like his phone is on D&D. Now that's not the whole bar, because he said something else about TMZ and all this, whatever. But like, and people are like highlighting that and they're like, oh, look, that's all he got. And I'm thinking like, yo, I already established that like I don't want to hear Travis Scott go against Pusha T. Like I don't want to hear that. And the fact that like Pusha sent kind of semi, like I don't think the jabs was too hard on So Be It. Pusha dropping some bars, and then Travis Scott kind of responded with some love taps. It's like was this planned out? But then to drop it on a Sunday is kind of wild. But it did. I would assume that it did kind of step on the release a little bit. But then again, what I was saying, how like if something is not your cup of tea, then like just don't listen to it. But like I've been hearing too, then people like, oh, like I ain't never heard a Travis Scott song that I liked, or whatever. And I'm like, well, then it's not for you. Like there's a lot of artists that I don't like and that people like. And I think we only feel that way when the person is popular. Like if a person was not popular and people like them, you wouldn't care. But it's like once people reach a certain level of fame and popularity, that's when everybody got like an issue. So, but the Jackboys album, from the tracks, I probably heard like 8 tracks. I like almost all of them. The one track I like ILMB. I love my bitch. That's one of my joints. Kick Out was cool. I think 2000 Excursion was pretty cool. MM3, I think I like that one. Again, there's a lot that I gotta get into. So like, but definitely different style of albums. But I'm just wondering, like, was that planned out or was there a scramble involved? And like, I don't even think there would need to be a scrambling effect involved because he could have just dropped it the following week, or he could have dropped it in 2 weeks from when Clips dropped. Like it wouldn't. I don't think it would have made that much of a difference. But what do you think? What do you think? Do you think that was like a WWE promo and like they were just helping each other out in the long run, or or is it beef? Is it beef? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know in the comment section. And then so we reacted to some music, and then all right, we're gonna wrap this up with some TV show wrap ups. All right. And reviews. I can't give a full review on Jack Boys because we still gotta listen to that. But so some TV shows. All right. So I have a little bit of time. I have a little bit of extra time on my hands in the summer. And so I will watch some shows. I'll catch up on some stuff, watch some stuff that I haven't watched, or like, and really I've been diving into Netflix because bro, I've had a Netflix account. That Netflix account's for my son, man. Like I don't really be on there like that. Unless it's a show that I've already watched, like I've already been watching from a couple years ago, and like it's season 5. Like again, I watched I watched Squid Game, but like over the last like year or two, haven't really played Netflix too much. So then now I got a little extra time on my hands, so then I'm watching some shows. I watched that Temptation. I never watched Love Island. I know that's not Netflix, but I know everybody's going crazy about Love Island. I'm not above watching Love Island, but I feel like I watch enough of these shows that I don't need to watch every single one. I watched Temptation Island on Netflix. I didn't really like it. I didn't really like it. It wasn't that crazy, or it wasn't that good. It just wasn't that good. There's another show on Netflix, right? So have y'all seen this show called Sneaky Links? So this one again, dating show. Where they have them staying at is like one of those classic motels that's like maybe like it has like a about like two, just say it has like a level 1 and level 2, but then on level 2 you can go the whole way around like a basic motel, whatever. They got a pool in the middle, downstairs maybe like the whole way around as well. So that's what they're staying in the Sneaky Links Hotel. So dating show, they're trying to find love. They don't know that it's Sneaky Links though, right? So this is the premise. It starts, so there's 12 contestants altogether. The first 6 go out there and they're like, all right, yeah, they know that more people are coming. So they hype whatever. So then one by one, right? The seventh, eighth, eighth through 12th, like, seventh through 12th, like contestants, right? Start to come out. The other 6 are coming out one by one. So what they realized was that, yo, like the first person came out, and then like somebody in that first group of 6 is shocked. And they're like, oh snap, like no way. They knew the person. Well, the person that comes out is your sneaky link, is that person's sneaky link. So I got some questions about that. So we'll get into those questions, and I wonder if you had those same questions as well. So yeah, so then they kind of got the drift. They're like, oh, the next person must be connected to somebody here, whatever, right? So these people are trying to find love, and they're trying to find love, or they're trying to figure out if like the person that they have a sneaky link with, if maybe they want to actually explore a relationship with that person. um or or they make the decision that like, hey, it's time that we kind of stop, whatever, and we kind of move on and go about our ways. So then, and then there's like people that get voted out by people, not really by the contestants, but like the judges be deciding, or like there's like these like love coaches or life coaches that be watching them do everything, and then they kind of decide like, oh, you ain't really got no connection with nobody, you got to go home. So then they'll replace them with new people. Now, it would have been interesting if like the new people would have been connected to like other people as well, but like no. So I thought it was good. I like it was kind of messy. People was getting real intimate and real hot and heavy, like hotter than like normal on a reality TV show. Like they was like getting into it, like for real. Like people like literally sneaking around. um Obviously you don't have no communication, but then they allowed them to communicate with each other through the rooms, and like so like the hotel phone. And then like people are literally like crawling on the ground to sneak to other people's rooms because they just didn't want no smoke. And like yeah, there's a lot of duplicity. There's a lot of guys lying to each other and things like that. People changing their mind. Like it was good. It was really good. So I do suggest you check that out. But I did have some questions. So like if you put out a show like Sneaky Links, right, and then the person that's coming out is somebody that you used to have casual friends with benefits situation with, right? How the hell do they get on the show? Like, did y'all apply together? Because then it makes it like, how are you surprised that this person is on here? Like, because how did they find out that, how would the show find out who your casual sex partner is? Like, how would they find that out? And for them to reach out to that person and then set this thing up to where they're a contestant, like that just doesn't seem believable. So it makes me think that they come in like people are like applying as a couple, and then they're not a couple, and then they go about their separate ways. But like the shock factor, it's believable on TV. It's believable, but like it don't make sense all the way, because it's like, how the hell y'all both, if y'all just be messing around on the side, how the hell y'all coordinate for both of y'all to be on the show? Because I know damn well the show don't know all your business, and there'll be no way for them to like really identify, like if you like had a roster and you ranked them, like how would they verify and know it's true, whatever. So but I thought that was a good, for the dating shows, I thought that was like really 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 good, right? um the bear's back. And so the bear, it started out, I didn't like season 3. So let's talk about the bear real quick. Talk about the bear. I thought season 3 was the worst season of the bear. We're in season 4 right now. Season 3 was depressing. Season 3 got away from what their strength is. So the bear is the show is its strongest when the people are, you have that quick banter, yelling back and forth, that chaotic banter back and forth. That's when the show is probably at its best. So, but in season 3, there was too much introspection. There was too many episodes where like nothing is really happening. You know what I'm saying? There's too many episodes where the dialogue was like minimal, right? So they didn't do that in this season. It does start off slow, but then yeah, like my man from Right on Q Live, I ended up talking to him about it because I know he's a fan of the bear, and he was saying, nah, it gears up and it gets better. And so like I'm at a place where it's like really good right now, and I don't want to finish the season because I'm like, damn, then because I was gonna finish it like right away, and I was like, no, I'm gonna let it cook a little bit, but like I do need to finish that, but like definitely better than last season. The season 3 was the worst season of the show. So it was only up from here anyway. But what do you think? Have you watched The Bear? Do you watch The Bear? And have you checked out season 4 yet? If so, let me know what your thoughts are on it. And then last topic, last thing we're gonna react to. And it's another show though, and I think this is a dope show. This is a dope show, but a little bit corny, little gimmicky, and you're gonna know right away what I'm talking about. So there's a new singing competition on Netflix, and I premiered the other week because this week they put out like the second slate of episodes. So remember making the band, right? Remember that? So they have a new show called Building the Band. Building the Band. So yes, gimmicky, corny, like no originality. They could have did something better. But I gotta say though, this is like making the band was like they were trying to make it. Like they weren't making the band itself. Like they weren't creating the band. They were just trying to make it on the band. This one's building the band. They are truly building their bands up. So it starts off with 50 singers. And here's the thing, it's blind. They're getting one, they're getting to choose their partners, but they're doing it blindly. So they're in these pods, these listening pods, and like somebody will have to perform, you know what I mean? And then for the singing contestants to move on to the next round, they got to get at least five people to like their singing. Like they got to get five likes. They get the five likes, then they're safe. All right. So once they're safe, then and you get your likes and you're going to the next level. Now what they do is they allow you to communicate with other people's music or other artists that you liked as well. So like just and you get to like 10 different artists. So I think you only get to communicate with the people that you like though, right? And so like it's almost like a network of things that you like, whatever. So then you can communicate with them and you still don't see them. They have not seen each other. And then they start to like really like start to collaborate and start to be like, all right, yo, I think you, me, and this person would make a good group. You, me, and this person will make a good group. Now, when they say band, it's really just a singing group because like most of these people are not playing instruments. Your band can be 3 to 5 members, right? And I'm gonna say this: so the judges were all part of big groups, right? So you got Nicole Scherzinger, you got Liam Payne from One Direction, and then you got Kelly Rowland. So it's really good. Like actually, three really good, strong judges in terms of knowing the experience. Like that's one thing I say. All three of them people know what high level success is being in a group of singers. So yeah, I think that's dope. And then the fact that it's blind, it takes away a lot of bias, right? Because bias from you, like you as a singer, you as an artist, it takes away your bias, but also there's no record label bias because like you could look like anything, you know what I mean? But like how often would you get a chance to be a part of a group just based off of your talent and voice? There's a lot of people that have talented voices and can sing and they don't fit the mold, they don't fit the image. So then they don't get to move on and progress in their careers. I mean, they become songwriters, so to speak. So this is a way to kind of debunk a lot of that, right? Now, I would say that it takes like the best elements of like the voice, you know what I'm saying, where it's like yeah, that blind judging, and then yeah, like making the band, like that kind of competition. And I think it's a really good show. There's six bands, like they established it. There's six bands, and right now they're kind of like they're performing and like trying to compete to see who moves on. Um, some of the groups, like you got like three girl groups. There's this one group that's like all guy. Like there's two boy bands. One is like a mixed race boy band. So there's like two black dudes and two white dudes. Never seen that before. Maybe Color Me Bad. I don't remember what their race was. Remember the song I wanna sex you up? They were like a multiracial band or group too. So I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna work, but like them fellas could sing. There's another group of guys who, bro, it's like four white dudes, whatever, and like, I guess they could sing for like their genre of music, but like they don't dance. They don't have no cohesion, and then like they want to be rock stars. Like they don't have that poppy because it's supposed to be like pop music, maybe R&B music, but like they want to kind of go a different direction, kind of being rebels, and they run through some trouble. And then there's a group of girls that's like four girls. There's a four-girl group. There's a mixed group with men and females, right? Men and women on there. Of different. Yeah, now most of them are black, I would say, or Hispanic. And that's interesting. But like those people can sing. Now, the only thing about them is that like this group would never have been put together because just the imaging of these people, like, you got a girl that's on there that's plus size. You got a dark skinned brother on there. You got another brother who's part of the community. You know what I'm saying? Where like he might not always get a fair shot with certain things, and then you got this like racially ambiguous girl that like I don't even know what she is for real. But like on a label, like if you were a label exec, like you wouldn't know what to do with that. And like nobody would put them together. But like that's what kind of makes them kind of special and kind of unique because it's like, yo, this is we ain't never seen nothing like this before. Um and then yeah, I think there's like so there's the two boy bands, the mixed race boy band, the emo white boy band. All right, that's two. There's the mixed group of four. There's a group of four girls who they sound sweet whatever, but like it's pretty generic. I mean they are. And then there's two different uh girl trios, right? There's two different girl trios. And like the one they have good voices, but they can't get on the same page. And like I'm gonna say this, there's a contestant on there. Her name is Allison. I'm not really a fan of Allison, so I'm not gonna Allison. If you ever see this, because I'm gonna put this out. I'm not hating on you, but you gotta know that Netflix, you know what I mean, and the producers, they're definitely making you to be the villain because they keep cutting to you they keep catching all your candid moments and things and comments. Now you do have a strong personality. I'm talking to Allison right now. Allison, you do have a strong personality, but like I ain't gonna lie, I'm not a fan of you. I'm not a fan of how you conducting yourself on the show, and I want you voted out. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't gonna lie, like I want your team to lose. And it's mainly because of you. You know what I mean? I think you got talent. Like this girl is very talented. Like she can sing, she look good. I'm not hating on her at all. But it's her attitude, and maybe that's how she's become. That's how she's successful and how she's been successful her whole life. But like you got girls on your group that don't feel like they can talk to you. You know what I'm saying? And that's been evident in the last episode that I saw. But like, yeah, dope show. I'm gonna keep tuning in. I can't wait to see like how they just judge this and like how this show progresses. I think this is like when it comes to singing competitions, this is probably the best that Netflix has done. Now, I did like Rhythm and Flow. Rhythm and Flow though there's elements of Rhythm and Flow that are not the best. But like they did a good job on Rhythm and Flow in terms of like just different challenges and things like that. Only thing with these singing shows is a lot of times they are really good and they get a lot of ratings and then they run them into the ground. So like um if you see this show and there's like if this show like they won't even because what happens is with these shows they don't even need to do like it don't take that long to record these shows and they're not really paying people top dollar so it don't cost that much to make they're paying their judges and the people that create it. They're paying them more than and these people might get a stipend or some sort. They get like a little bit of pay but they're not really paying them. Like it's not like they got like actors or anything like that. So what you could see is that like they'll drop two of these seasons per year, like a spring one and a fall one, and then they'll run this fucking show into the ground. I hope they don't do that. But like, yeah, check it out though. Check it out if you need something to watch and you like a good singing show or something like that, good competition. Check this one out, and I think it's worth your while. But I think we're gonna wrap this up though, man. Again, I got vacation, so if we miss a week, if you don't see me, that's where I'm at. I'm on an island. I'm on the beach of Mexico, or I'm in Miami on the beach, trying to celebrate some weddings for my friends. I'll say this though, if your friend decides to have a destination wedding, and you go to the destination wedding, you need to be like you are like a different level of friend. Like you're like Hall of Fame amethyst badge level friend. You know what I'm saying? And I'm happy to share these moments with my friends. And I think they realize like who's goated and who's not when it comes to that. But yeah, I just know for a fact like you have like it's like an automatic. Like you gain so much respect and love from your friends when you decide to go to their destination wedding. And even though it might be like it catches you off guard because it's like, damn, destination wedding. And it's a couple extra steps that are involved in putting that together, but like it's dope though. It's dope. But what you think about this week's episode, man? We talked a little bit about Teddy Bridgewater and stuff, and his suspension. We talked about the Uno and the casinos. We reacted to some albums that just came out, and then some TV shows that are out right now, man. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you got something out of it. Again, if you know anybody that's into any of this music or any of these TV shows, share that content with them. Leave a comment below if you want to join the conversation or you got some smoke for Los. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications. This is 280 Plus Podcast, y'all. This is episode 201. And I'm out, y'all. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Peace.